Hello YouTube, and I said I'd do this if I got 20 views on my first video, and you did that. Thanks guys, appreciate it. So I said I'd do a deck profile on my Jackknife deck. Now this is a custom deck, which most cards you'd find in it is a Jackknife, just mostly because yeah, it's different size 2s, but yeah, right. Start off with size 1. Full copy of Blue Sky Knight's Slengy Dragon. Is that how you spell it? When this card enters the field, size 1, 2000 defense, 4000 power, 1 critical. When this card enters the field, if you do not have a monster in your center, you gain 1 life. Now, pretty good in a way, because you can put 2 on the field and you gain 2 life. So, have full 4 of him, because he's a little health medic, I say. Next up, 3 copies of Systemic Dagger Dragon. Now, you can get this guy in the very first trial deck. I use him as like a go-to card, because you can't really summon monsters with abilities if you can't outload them. He's just like a normal vanilla monster who you can rely on in a way, because he can get through. 3 of him. Three copies of Thousand Rapier Dragon. Same with Thousand Rapier. It is a good ability. Well, not a good ability, more like a good card to use. Vanilla. Size 1. And you could tell they both are okay due to this. Systemic Dagger has 3000 power, 2 critical, 3000 defense. 1000 Rapier, 5000 power, 2 critical, and 1000 defense. So basically, one's like more just attack, one's more a bit mixed. But that's good for these two, because you need like monsters which you can rely on. 1000 Rapier is one of them. Next up, 2 copies of Bloody Card Dragon. Now this card's really good. Pay a gauge. Size 1, 2000 defense, 2 critical, 2000 power. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. When this card enters the field, you may choose a card from your gauge and put it into your hand. Now this is like a really good card. So like, oh, you discarded the card, you discard your best card by accident, or you want to see what's in your gauge. Use this card and you get it back, but you gotta remember, here's a trick. I usually discard a card which I really use, but I can always get them back if I have this in my hand. Tip, do not summon them straight away, because that means you pay the gauge, which is the card you wanted, and it's been back in the drop zone. So use him when you like at least a turn after you discarded your card, and you might not want to pay call cost. So 2 of him, pretty good. Next, 2 copies of Warhammer Dragon. Size 1, 3000 power. 3000 power, 2 critical, 2000 defense. Pay 1 gauge. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. And he has Penetrate. Now, Penetrate's not that bad if you have a link attack with monsters with Penetrate. That's not bad. 2 of him. Diamond Shield Dragon. Size 1, 4000 power, 1 critical, 7000 defense. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. Now, this is like a very good shield. It's an upgraded version. I say if you've got no shield in your hand, you use this guy, put him in center, and then you got a bit of time to slow him down. As long as your opponent doesn't have him penetrate, then you're good. 1 copy of Systemic Dagger Black Edge. Size 1, 3000 power, 2 critical, 3000 defense. Pay 1, call cost, pay 1 gauge. You put another card with Systemic in its card name from your field into your drop zone. If you do, for this turn, this card gets critical plus and double attack. Now it's not bad for a size 1, because you will be able to use this. But like I said, like it says, really, you would need a Systemic Dagger card like this, just to get rid of it. So basically, he attacks. Then, so you attack with this card first. Then use this guy's ability, so you discard this card, put this card from the field into the drop zone. He gains this double attack and critical, so he swings for one and then swings again. Hopefully deals damage to the opponent. If not, it's a well good try. One copy, in fact this is the last size one. One copy of Bronze Shield Dragon. Now, this is a custom deck, so forgive me if I'm adding just random card, but this deck has proven worthy. Size 1, 2000 power, 1 critical, 6000 defense. So it's 1000 defense less than Diamond Shield, but it's still a shield and it can still it could be really good in a way. So, one of them. Size 2. Dirk Sholto Dragon. Size 2, 6000 power, 5000 defense, 2 critical. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. If this is the only attack card attacking, this card's attack cannot be notified by a card with Dragon Shield in its card name. Now, I learned that this card is a hate card for Dragon Shields. So anything with Dragon Shield in its card name, Sun Dragon Shield, White Dragon Shield, Black Dragon Shield, anything with a Black Dragon Shield in it, it won't work. Cannot stop this card. So really, this is a really good card. So if your opponent plays very defensively with Dragon World, say, use this guy and then try and knuckle them down, because this card's attack can't be nullified. He can be destroyed during that turn, but he can't be nullified by his attack can't not be nullified if he's the only one attacking. 3 of him. Next, a good defender as well. This Quake Dragon, size 2, 5000 power, 2 critical, 9000 defense. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. Now, you're thinking, why do I have this guy? Why don't I have more of him and then like less of the Diamond Shield? Well, I can only get 2, and this card is so good for size 2s. Like my opponent couldn't get past him for at least 3 turns. So yeah, this card is proving pretty worthy in my favour. And then, whilst I'm trying and get something out on the field, like a Jackknife for instance, I always use him as a shield to hold them off. It does work a lot, mostly because the opponent doesn't summon the higher power level monsters. It's pretty good. So 2 of them. Now everyone does know a favourite. Extreme Sword Dragon, size 2, 5000 power, 4000 defense, 3 critical. Now people say cards like this are known as crit beasts. Just no ability, just critical. 2 of him, because he's a classic. I love the classic cards. It's just amazing. 1000 Rapier, Systemic Dagger, Extreme Sword, and this card is going to be another one of my favourites, and it's everyone's probably other favourites as well. 2 of a Drum Bunker Dragon. Now, I want to have more, but I can't. It's a Jackknife deck. If it was a drum deck, I would make one. Size 2, 5000 power, 5000 defense, 3 critical, call cost. Pay 1 gauge and put the top of your deck into this card's Soul Guard. Now, he's like a card which I trust, because I could use him for like defense, centered end game or stuff, or use him for attacking purpose. Which is really good to link attack with cards like Drum, Jackknife, Extreme Sword, even other cards. So, really good with this guy. Next, one copy of Machilla Sword Dragon. Size 2, 5000 power, 3 critical, 5000 defense. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. If you have 5 or more different monsters in your drop zone, this card gets 3000 power plus and penetrates. That's pretty good. So, penetrate's a good idea to get 8000 power. That's really handy if this guy does not get destroyed. Pay gauge, I'd pay this gauge if I had this card, but I'd have to wait till I have more cards in the drop zone. So, 1 of him. And yeah, next to alternate forms of some characters you may know. Ultimate Sword Dragon, size 2, 6000 power, 4 critical, 1000 defense. Call cost, pay 1 gauge, and you may put an Extreme Sword Dragon from your drop zone into this card's Soul Guard. Now, this is the upgraded version of Extreme Sword. Like, I didn't even know this card existed until I went searching for some new cards for my decks. And this card is proven pretty worthy. Now, there's same for Extreme Systemic Dagger and 1000 Rapier. They all have their new forms, but I could only get Systemics and Ultimate Extreme Swords. 1000 Rapiers was sold out apparently. So, yeah, I only have one of these guys up here because I don't have too many of these guys because I need at least Next is a Systemic Dagger form. Systemic Dagger Onka. Size 2, 6,000 power, 6,000 defense, 3 critical. Call cost. Pay 2 gauge and put a card with Systemic Dagger in its card name from your drop into this card soul guard. Now, so it's the same as this, but has more soul and more defense now. So it's basically up defense, up critical and power. So really, this card is good. I only have up to 1, because too many of them could be a bit of a problem. Now, drum cards. Let's start with this one. Ultimate Neo Drum, Drum the Future. Now, I got this card a very long time ago. It's still helpful. Size 2, 11,000 power, 4,000 defense, 3 critical. Call cost. Pay 2 gauge. Counter. When this card link attacks with you, if you have 5 life or less, you may pay 1 gauge and discard a card from hand. If you do, the attack cannot be nullified and the damage cannot be reduced. Now, that's a really good final finisher because this cannot be nullified and damage can't be reduced. So if you had this card has 3 critical, and say like you had a critical of 6 of 3 of an item, and then you use something else as well, then like this is really good. Next is another form, 1 copy of that, really good. Super Armored Dragon, Drum Bunker Dragon. Now this card really good because it has double move effect, which I'll tell now. Size 2, 7,000 power, 5,000 defense, 3 critical. Call cost. Pay 1 gauge. Put this card on top of a card on your field with drum in its card name. When this card moves, move this card to an open area on your field. You may only use this ability once per turn. Move, penetrate, soul guard. Now, everyone knows the effective move. If it's on the left or right, you can remove once before your opponent's attack phase. But this card can move twice. So like it's in the center, takes a hit, but then it was going to kill it. Use its ability, move it again. Safe and sound. So then, really helpful because this card can move and take hit and dodge them if you needed to. When I got up to one of these, really good. Got 1 copy of that. Next is Jackknives. Four copies of Jackknife Dragon because it's the main buddy. Size 2, 5,000 power, 6,000 defense, 3 critical. Pay 1, call cost, pay 1 gauge. Act, you may pay 2 gauge. If you do, search your deck with for a monster with Jackknife in its card name, call it on top of this card and shuffle your deck. Now, Jackknife's a base form, you can transform just like Drum, and I have a lot of forms in this deck to like evolve Jackknife further. And there's a surprise once I show you the items. You will like this card. So full 4 copies of Jack. 1 Jackknife Thunderstorm. Size 2, 6v6. Call cost, pay 1 gauge and put this card on top of a monster with Jackknife in its card name. Act, Thunder Raid. If this card is on the left or right, you may pay 2 gauge. If you do, destroy a monster on your opponent's field. Oh, pay 2 life, sorry. Pay 2 life if you do destroy a monster on your opponent's field. Soul Guard. Now, this helps in a certain card in this deck I did. And I'll tell you about it later on once we get near the items. 1 Dispersal. 635, size 2. Pay 1 gauge. Put this card on top of a monster with Jackknife in its card name, like all did one side. If this card's on the left or right, this card gets Penetrate, Soul Guard. So you have to be on the left or right to do this, not in the centre. 1 Jackknife Saviour. 635, size 2. Pay a gauge, the same as that. Move and Soul Guard. Now, move's a pretty good ability, as I said, like Drum does. But this one only move once. And I just love the Jackknife foam foils recently, because they're just getting cool. My favourite one is gotta be the surprise I'll be showing you all. Jackknife Aggressor, 1. Because who does not love a Jackknife? Because I do. 845, size 2. Pay a gauge and Soul Guard. Now this card is like very powerful and critical, but lacks ability wise because it only has Soul Guard. So you'd probably use them more, like get Jackknife evolving with different forms and then use Jackknife Aggressor last. There we go. Another form. 5th Omni Lord. 5th Omni Blade Dragon Lord Jackknife Emperor. This is a promo card of the Omni Lord. 536, size 2. Pay 2 gauge. Core cost, pay 2 gauge. Counter, destroy a monster on your opponent's field and you take 2 damage. You may use this ability once per turn. Now this is another way which helps you as well, but as I say, I'll tell you later with the items. And then we have a dual card, which I pretty much like this card. It's pretty cool. Purgatory Knight's Jackknife Dragon. Now, 536, size 2. Pay 1 gauge, put this card on top of an armored dragon on your field. Now, it could be any. It could be a normal, size 1, size 2, or a Jackknife. I prefer to put this on top of a Jackknife, to be honest, extra soul. Counteract. Destroy an armored dragon monster on your field. If you do, destroy a monster on your opponent's field. You may only use this ability once per turn. Soul Guard. Now, you know how Purgatory Knights work. That's the ability, but I put them in this deck because I think it'd be good for more Jackknife forms. Size 3. Phalanx Dragon. 747, size 3. Core cost, pay 2 gauge. Basically a crit beast again, but if you summon this first turn, you can easily do your opponent a lot of damage, but I prefer to work with the ability what my monster has here. So, next card. One of them. Super Armored Dragon General Boldness. Sorry, I'll focus now. Basically, pay 747, crit beast again, size 3. Pay 3 gauge, put up to 2 size 3 monsters from your hand into this card's soul. Act, pay 1 gauge. If you do, destroy an item on you or spell on your opponent's field. Move, Soul Guard, Lifelink 2. Lifelink 2, as I explained in my Ancient World video, the card leaves the field, VA drop zone, like officially leaves the field, not with soul, or is returned to hand, or you put it there, yeah, you take 2 damage. Moves a pretty good effect. Good Soul Guard as well, one of them. 5th Omni Dragon Lord Tenbu. Now this Tenbu card is pretty good. 636, size 3. You can use up to 1 in other worlds, but 4 full 4 on the Dragon Lord deck. Core cost, pay 2 gauge. When this card enters the field, destroy monsters on your opponent's field. So he's a clear fielder. So if the monster has a tough monster in which has 1 life left or soul, whatever, or it just has no soul left and you can't defeat it without summoning this guy, use this guy, attack, and then you deal damage to your opponent at least. Spells. Yeah, we've got full 4 copies of Green Dragon Shield, which is a go-to card I always have in my Dragon World decks. Always use this card. When it casts during an attack on your opponent's turn and you don't have a monster in the centre, counter another valid attack and gain 1 life. Full 4. It's always a must-have in Dragon World decks. Even if it's a Dragon Knight deck, always have a Green Dragon Shield. Next, 3 copies of Dragonic Survey. Destroy a spell on your opponent's field. Now these are like really good for set spells, which are really a nuisance recently. Some certain set spells can easily like help tip the balance. So having these guys having this card basically is really good. Only enough put 3. Now next card, 2 copies of Dragonic Repair Weaponry or Weapon. Return an item from your drop zone into your hand. So basically, if you discard the card by accident, or if you have to discard a card you didn't know, you use this and you get it back. I've only up to 2 of these, so I use it wisely. Full 4 of Dragonic Heal. Now Dragonic Heal is like a go-to card for me because I always use these whenever I needed it. So if I have all 4 in hand, just say if I did, or if I had 2, I'd use 2 straight away because I gain more life then. Try and take more damage then, or more hits, so I can survive longer. Full 4 of that, pretty good. This spell's good. Dragonic Formation. You may only cast this card if you are being attacked. Counter, move an armored dragon monster from your field to the center and change the target to that monster instead. So that's really good if your opponent has like a low, but if they are link attacking you and they haven't got penetrate, I'd still use it anyway because if you would say it was taking you were going to take 6 damage for instance by all the cards, and you had no defense spells, but then you had one of these, yeah, the monster with a tough defense, what they couldn't break through. Use this, move it to the center, and you're safe for now. Then, and that card has move. You're lucky to move it back again when your attack phase begins. So, 2 of that. Another one. Drago Energy. choose an armored dragon in battle, and for this battle, give it 3,000 power, 3,000 defense, and counterattack. Counterattack, if that monster is still on the field after an attack, choose a monster that attacked with defense less than or equal down to this monster's power and destroy it. Now this is really handy because certain spells really work. Thank you. Next, a few more last spells. So, another spell. Green Dragon Knight Song of Ancient Lands. Now, go-to card because it's pretty good. That spell remains on field. Cast cost. Pay 1 gauge. When your armored dragon enters the field, you gain 1 life. You only have 1 on the field. Now, any armored dragon counts, and you can use spells which return, like Gambits to return it. Like my friend has the same card in his deck, and last time I fought him, he went up to 24 health, or 24 life I mean, and it was impossible, but I still won him apparently, so that's amazing for me to even know. So, like, this card is really good. You can even get the red, there's a red one and a blue one I've heard, but the red one deals 1 damage to you, if you do have one, or to the opponent. Blue one, I'm not sure what that does, but this is pretty good. Only have 1. It's a secret card which comes in the Jackknife deck, in a way. So you have to buy the trial deck, and then you get this card as well. Jackknife Braveheart. Now, pay 2 gauge. Associate your jack with a card with Jackknife in his card name. Put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. This helps me to get this 1 card I really have for this deck, and it's quite good. So I only use 1 of these. Fire Dragon Shield. Now this is the same like Dirk Shuttle. You can't use this card against it, but this card can stop impacts, I've heard, and I'm really tempted. I really did use this once and it worked hell. Pretty good. Up to 1. It's a rare. Very good. Items. Dragon Blade Drago Wing. 4,000 power, 2 critical. Equip cost. Pay 1 gauge. When you gain life for this turn, this card gets critical +1. This ability can only be used once per turn. 2 of that, because if you do gain life from a shield, or like that spell I told you about, or Green Dragon Song itself, you gain life. And this card is really good. A free critical item, not bad. Up to 2. Dragon Bow Dragon Spirit. It has 2,000 power, free critical. Critical cost, pay 1 gauge. Act. Destroy a monster on your opponent's field. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent. You only use this ability once per turn. 2 of these, because who does not like a bow? I like a sword, me, but this bow is pretty good. Dragon Blade Drago Breach. 5,000 power, free critical. Equip cost, pay a gauge, pay a life. Now, a bit random having just 1 of these, but it's pretty good. I like it. 1 of them. Now, the favourite card I've been trying to help show you all, and I really like this card, Jackknife Gold Ritter. I have 1 of these cards. Now, this is the surprise I was telling you all about. I have 1 Jackknife Gold Ritter, and the reason why I have this Jackknife Braveheart is so that it works. Because this card says get a card with Jackknife in it. Jackknife Gold Ritter. You get this card. You get this soon as I can. I usually get this card straight away. So, stop me going off my roll a bit, getting off topic. So 10,000 power, 5 critical, 10,000 defense. Equip cost, when you have 5 life or less, put a card with Jackknife in its card name with 3 or more soul from your field into your drop zone and pay 2 gauge. This card cannot be destroyed nor returned to your hand, and it is treated as if there is a size 3 armored dragon monster on your field. Damage dealt to you from link attack becomes 2 instead. Penetrate. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this card is OP, to be honest. Like, I only have up to 1, and I defeated my opponent last time, and he was so annoyed. Basically, and if this card is on your center, or if you are this, you can still use defensive spells, because basically it's as if it's treated as one, as if there is one, but there isn't. So you can still use your defensive spell, like for instance, there's another one. Let's grab a couple of examples. basically, you have a Jackknife, you have this. You can use green dragon shields, because as if there was a monster on the field. It doesn't say where, so you can still use green dragon shields. You can still use the Drago energy, because it's still a monster, as if there is. So you got like 13,000 power, 13,000 defense. Basically, you're guaranteed to destroy a monster. And then if your opponent casts an impact, which you can and your opponent can still, because it's just treated as if there's a monster, and you can use this to stop it. This is a really good effect with all the cards, so it really comes together. So, one of these cards, I can only afford one, because this card was really, really good to get. I found this on, like, eBay. Pretty good. Worth the money every time. Okay. Next up, Impact. 2 copies of Reckless Anger. Pay 4 gauge. You may only cast this card if your opponent has 4 life or less, and you do not have a monster in your center, but with this, it would work, because as if there's a Cypher in the field. So anyway, tap one of your weapon, and for this turn, give it critical plus, then attack with that weapon. This attack cannot be nullified, but the damage can be reduced, so you can have a 7 critical item on the field with this card. So that's like what to do with Combo Breaker. And basically, just if you have a monster in the center which I can't get through unless by penetrate, which might say like they had 6 health, like I only have 5 critical on this card. Use this, and then attack them with that, and then I win that round. Then basically, 2 of them. Go-to card I always like to have in this deck is Gargantua Punisher. Now, before I even start, I've got 2 Gal versions, and I've got a Suhu version, which is very different, but I like having them both in. Yeah, let's see. Cast cost. Pay 4 gauge. You may cast if your opponent has 4 life or less, just like Reckless Anger. And neither you nor your opponent has a monster in the center. You can still use it with Jackknife Goblet in the center. Pretty good. Deal 4 damage to your opponent. This card cannot be nullified, and the damage cannot be reduced. Like this attack can't be nullified. This attack can't be nullified, but the damage can be reduced to the side. So, full 3 of them. And that is my deck, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Peace.